We're missing a few people still, right? How you guys doing?
Good.
Good? All right.
How are you?
Good. Hey. Hello, hello. So what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We still got 5 more people. You can get these out. Yeah, let's do that.
Dockside has safe.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was gonna get rid of it, but thanks.
They still like more?
Welcome.
Super helpful. Yeah.
Because Rondo showed a couple of mine, and I tried to her just to get like a feel of like what my life can be. But she has some good insight. I know what it's more listed in there. It was still 1 penny. One was looking like
I sold a house on that street. It's a cute little street.
Oh, you did? Yeah. This year?
Last year.
How much did you sell it for? How much did you sell it for?
I think at the time it was like 198. Yeah, it was under 200.
But they wanted it.
They bought right me. Well, 2 years. It was right before we did.
Oh. 298. 198. Okay, I was about to
And it was the
say.
highest at that time. There, it was cute.
Yeah.
Super cute.
Yeah. Okay, guys, you're ready to learn something about CRS? Yeah? Okay. Well, a little bit about me. I started in real estate in 2016, and in 2019, the end of 2019, I incorporated as the LIGHTMAN Group. I started working as the LIGHTMAN Group, and now I train and I recruit agents. So if you're interested in that, if you're interested in training, leads, any of that, you can contact me after the class. Today we're going to study and find out a little more about how to use CRS. And CRS is a program that we use to find out more information about a property, about the homeowners, about taxes, about mortgages, all that kind of stuff. It's really good also for prospecting, if you wanted to send out mail outs, things like that. So the first thing I'm going to do before that, we're going to start with you. Who are you? When did you start? And where from?
Cheryl Smith, about 2.5 years ago. From was a hard one because my husband was military, so we traveled forever. But we came from Alaska.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Okay.
I started probably 7 or 8 months ago.
Mhm.
And I just joined Realty. I left another worker.
Okay.
I was in education prior.
And where are you from?
New Jersey.
New Jersey.
I've been here like 3 weeks, 4 weeks.
Well, welcome.
I'm from Pennsylvania. Is that all?
That's good, that's good. Go ahead.
My name's Teresa. I have had my license for 2-ish years, and I'm from Illinois.
2 years?
I'm Joe Dawson, and actually same answer is 2 years, and I'm from Chicago.
Good, welcome. Over there. Oh, we forgot about you, sorry.
You forgot about me.
Yeah.
Diana Van Pelt, licensed almost 5 years now from Pennsylvania.
I'm Shavy, about a year and a half, and I'm here locally.
I'm Joel Wilson, I've been about a year and a half, and this is home.
Robert Jenkins, about 5 years, and I grew up here.
Ray Buchanan, I've had my license for 4 years, I'm originally from North Carolina.
So basically a local, right?
I've been here for years.
Hi, Dorothy DeMayo, licensed since January in Front Connecticut.
Angie Woodard, I've been licensed since 2016. I'm not near as smart as Alissa, because I wouldn't be sitting here, but anyway. Yeah, Conway, I'm from Conway.
Okay.
I'm Anne. Hi everyone.
She's our, actually our coach at the Lightman Group. She does coaching on the side as well. If you wanted to, you can also reach out to her. Very good coach. I'm gonna give you guys a little piece of paper, and what I would like you to do is write down one thing that you expect or would like to learn today. It could be anything. You guys can see the screen, right? Okay, so I'll give you just a minute to write down what you expect to learn or one thing that you want to learn. And once you're done with that, we can start the class. And you can open this one right here or put it in front of you. All done? Okay, all right. So CRS is a service that homeowners and the public kind of, and the county kind of members in or agrees to. So one of the counties, if you see, you'll notice that some counties are not on CRS, but most counties are. That's because some counties did not become a member with CRS, right? But most of them are in here, and what they do is that they put in all the information that they know, all the public information to help the consumer. So basically all this information is public to help the consumer understand what's going on and also to prevent fraud, okay? So it also helps us because we know where to go. The public doesn't know where to go. So we can go on here and find out more information. You can find out, you know, the name of the homeowner, the real name, if there are other people on the mortgage or on the deed, and other information like taxes, all that stuff. So the way you access it is 2 ways. The way I like to access it is through Paragon. The other way you can access it, if you don't want to go to Paragon, you can actually go onto their website, okay? So you can open this in a new link. So that would be that website, CCARS, and that link right there. You can take that link and you can save it. You can actually just click on that star button right here, and that saves it for you up here. See where it's at now? So now all you can do is just click on it, it'll take you to that website. A lot of times when you're using that website, you already have a property that you are investigating. Let's just say you're investigating that property. So what you wanna do is you wanna use the buttons below. Now sometimes you're not gonna see these buttons, which means that that property has not been listed on the market within the last maybe 10 years or so the buttons would not be there. So what you would need to do is go on here and put the address here and then submit that. Does that make sense? Okay. So let's say we're doing like a traditional thing, we got this property right here, it's active, and we wanna get more information on it for our buyers. So we're gonna click on this button right here, and when you hover on it, you'll see it saying Property Report, CRS. So let's click here. And that opens up the property for you. Say for example, you're listing this property. One really great thing you can do is to have that book for when the buyers walk in and they can see that book in the kitchen and kind of look at all the information, the lot measurement, the taxes, the utilities, all that stuff. And this report is really good. I use it for listings and also for buyers if they're interested to know what their lot size is. See that? That kind of gives you the lot measurements for that home or for that property. Now when you see how this line is going over the property a little bit, and this line is going over the next property, this may be a little typo in the system, or it could actually be where the lines aren't correct or where they built it over that next property. So what you want to do if your clients are really interested in that is do a survey. Okay? So that's one part of it. And you can actually zoom out to see exactly where it is if you're doing, directions or things like that on the listing. You can print it. You can print the original one. You can click on this button right here and it'll make it smaller for you. And you can still zoom over here. Whoops. I guess I do need a mouse. There we go. Okay, and that will show you the lot measurements. Now you can also look at the homes adjacent to it and click on next report or previous report. That will take you to the very next property so you can look at the information on that one. Next thing I want you to see here is type of property and the square footage. If you're looking at this is the heated square footage. This is the livable space per the county. So basically the builder built the place and, got the permit and gave the information and the permit with the heated square footage information to the county and got approved, and that's what they built based on the builder. So whenever you guys are looking at some listings that maybe, this happens a lot with condos. I don't know if you guys are familiar, Jewel, Annie, you would see 5 or 4 2-bedroom condos in one building. Okay, they're 2 bedrooms, they're the same floor plan, but one is listed for 1,500 square feet heated and one is 1,200 square feet heated. That is probably a typo, especially if it's in the same building. The best way to know what the size is to go here, not on MLS. Okay, especially if you are, if you're listing the property. Subdivision would be here, and you got the property address here, and then you got the mailing address. That means that they actually own the home as a primary residence. This is where their mail goes. They live there. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. So this here is the parcel information. You're always looking at this number. This is the PIN number, which is the parcel ID number. This is the TMS number. That is the only number you're looking at. A lot of people get confused with the alternate parcel ID or the second parcel ID. Just look at this one. If you want, you can highlight it or put a star right next to it on your paper, because I have it printed out for you here. Oops. So you guys can flip that page and can put a little star right next to it. All right. Now, if you look at where it says current owner, you'll see the name of the owner. It usually starts with the last name. And sometimes you'll see two names in there. That means these two people own it. Sometimes you will see the letters ETAL, as in one word, which means that someone else also owns the property with them. So it could be a note. It could be, the lender or the mortgage company that also owns it with the homeowner, right? Or it could be, a trustee or something else, okay? It's not just that homeowner. There's someone else on the deed. Now here you can see the property record card. If you click here, I don't know if you guys knew this or not, but you can actually see all the information you can see on a property. You can see the valuation, and this is based on the city, okay? This is based on the city or county for taxes. It's not market value. A lot of times when you show this to your clients, they're gonna look at the assessment. If you look on page 2, they're gonna look at the assessment and say, oh, well, let's put an offer at $155,000. Well, no, it doesn't work that way, right? Because this is the assessment value for the taxation purposes. A good idea is to find out when the assessment is going to happen, especially if you've had even a sphere, people that live here, own their properties, things like that. And then assessment happens, like it happened a few years ago, and the city actually had a very high assessment for most properties. It was not correct. So what we needed to do is call our buyers that bought from us within the last few years and ask them to say, hey, could you share your assessment? Are your taxes going up? And they surely were going up. So what we did is we had to do an analysis and have them go to the assessor's office and adjust that, okay? Because we showed them that, hey, market value is not at $230,000 for this home, it's at $219,000, okay? And then because you're a primary resident, because you are, over 65, you get that exemption, okay? So it's now assessed at $150,000 maybe, okay? So you can look at this and kind of, explore this here. You got the improvements in here. So see when they built the dwelling, 1999. Okay, when they did the wood frame, size of area was 240. And then when they did the pavement, it was 1999. So they basically, this is when they built it. Okay. You're gonna see more information down here about, heating and condition, roofing, what else? I think that's about it. Flooring, plumbing fixtures, all that. And these are the major plumbing fixtures. It's not fixtures that you see like the faucet. It's the, construction wise. So if you have a friend in construction, you might want to pick their brain about that. Like, what does that exactly mean? How does it work? What is the blueprint? Here you have the school zone, so if you don't know what district, what schools are in the area, you can go in here and look at it. Okay, so everything is obtainable, all this information. The next part here is the sales history, okay? So this one kind of tells you what the sales history would be or has been for the last few years. Sometimes they have it all the way, 20 years, and sometimes they only have the last 10 years. It all depends of if the county updated the information, unfortunately, okay? But you can tell, you can see when it was reported, right? You can see who the seller was and who did he sell it to, right? So this one would be the current owner. And you can see the history of all this. Now, one note, I don't know if you wanna put a note here. See this one says $5? Do you guys know what that means? Any idea?
What is this?
The $5 here, see that one? Says amount $5.
Somebody gifted it to them, maybe?
So it's most likely, parents and son or daughter, and they just went to the courthouse and said, okay, we wanna put her name on it, and transferred the deed onto her name. And that usually costs $5. Now here you're gonna see the last tax assessment. Okay? And usually they will assess the land and assess the improvement, which is the construction. The actual building will be the improvement on the land. And total appraisal, and then after that, they will do their assessments based on, different things. Like we said, age after 65, primary residence, is it a rental? So now here, it'll show you what they've paid in the last few years in taxes.
Question, what if there was like an improvement, like, you built a screen porch?
Oh, I was gonna say something about that. Thank you for reminding me. So when you get something like that and it's not in here, that means they did not get a permit. Okay, now, not all the time does it matter, not all the time is it the end of the world and, the apocalypse. But, if it has a lot to do with structural things, like you said, like, they had to build a frame, they had to do electrical, and there's no permit in here, you've got to demand some documentation from the homeowner and from the listing agent. Hey, do we have the name of the contractor at least? If you go into rural areas, some places don't need a permit. Some items don't need a permit, like roofs may not need a permit in North Carolina, but they need a permit here. And if you're in city limits, then you have to wait, to be lucky, 2-3 months until that permit is accepted. So just keep in mind, if you look at a listing and it says, there's another bedroom or another floor has been added, go in here and look at what the improvements were. Go look at the property report card and see, if anything has been posted on there. Another thing here, you see this? You see how the taxes just jumped 3 times? Do you guys know why? Do you have an idea why?
They're not 65.
That's one. What else?
It's not a primary?
It's not primary. Thank you. Okay, fantastic. So that kind of gives you an idea of what that means, okay? So you can look at it, and when your client asks, well, what are my taxes? Well, it depends. How old are you? How are you gonna use it? And what other exemptions can we use? Veterans, for example, disabled veterans can get another exemption. But unless you know to ask, you won't get it. You have to go to the assessor's office and show your, veteran ID and all that stuff. Now, if you click here, I don't know if you guys know this, you can get more information over here. That should take you directly to the tax search or county online tax payments. Okay, and it should.
Where'd you click that again, if you don't mind?
Right here.
Okay.
See that? So you're on the property report.
Mm-hmm.
And if you click on this, it should take you exactly to that property, but apparently it doesn't want to cooperate today. So another way you can do it is you're gonna copy this number here, and you're gonna go back to online tax payments. Again, any website you wanna save that you're going to use, and you're probably gonna use this very, very much, you just can click on this star right here, and it'll pop up right here on your toolbar. Okay. And we're gonna go to pin and paste this and click search. With me? There it is. All right. So all this history is popping up now in regards to this property. Okay, and it also shows you 2021. On CRS, we only saw 2020. Okay. And so you can see the homeowner, you can see their name, and you can see, you know, what their taxes are, and all that, and you can see that it's real estate. Now, also pay attention, if you are looking at condos, you're also gonna notice, especially oceanfront condos or rental properties, instead of real estate, you're gonna also see personal property tax. Do you guys know what that is?
You're inside, your
Your
contents.
furniture. All right, so basically, if you're buying a property that is oceanfront or rental property, it's what? It's an investment.
Yes.
Meaning it's a
Business.
business. Thank you so much. So you're writing off, right? You need to price out all your contents and write that off so you can have, you know, you can pay your taxes and do all that. Now you can also click on here and see all the exact information and kind of check and make sure, okay, this is their, you know, their address. If they did not live here, they would have their, you know, their address would be different here. So if they lived in New York or Pennsylvania or wherever else, it'll be in here as their mailing address. Okay, so we talked about the tax assessment. We talked about the improvements, how to get there. This one is also a good one. This one tells you a little bit about the mortgage history. Now, this doesn't mean that they owe $155,000. Okay, this just shows you the last time it was refinanced, or someone got a HELOC, a home equity loan on it, or if it was sold and which, you know, which bank, right, financed it. So you'll see the lender's name here. See, Thomas had Quicken Loans, and then Logan had Guarantee Trust. That's a different lender. And you can tell how much they bought it for and how much they financed. Okay. Now you can click on View Mortgage Details and get even more details. See this card here? So you can actually go in and see that Logan got a VA loan. It was a 30 years. So now you know that this property is eligible for VA because it was sold as VA before. That's a big question that you're gonna have, especially with condos. Is it VA approved? Is it FHA approved? So this may help if you're going there and kind of looking. It'll tell you when it was recorded and what the term was and when it will be paid off too. Now, not all of them do. If you look here, for example, this person got an FHA loan and it doesn't really tell us the maturity year or the term, okay? But at least we know that it was approved for FHA, okay? That helps a lot, okay? And you can go in and look at all the information that you can find from when it was sold before in terms of mortgages. Do you guys have any questions? Good. Did you learn anything new yet? Mm-hmm. Maybe? Mm-hmm. Very good. All right, so now down here, this is very good when you're listing a property. So you can go in here and kind of look at, okay, this is the actual year this was built per the county, so that's the most accurate information. You've got central air conditioning. You've got exterior walls, aluminum vinyl, so this is how it was built. If it's different, if you go up to the property and they've got brick, well, who did it? You know, where is the permit if we needed a permit, and so on and so forth. You want to know that a good contractor did it, or at least is there still a warranty on what they just did. This one here with property characteristics, you see this where it says condition average? You're gonna see ones that say condition poor, It doesn't mean that it was poor. I don't know how the county and why. If you guys know, please tell me. But it just, I don't know. So if your client sees this and says, oh, the condition is poor, say, no, this is not really what it means. You might wanna call the county and ask them, hey, why did you say that this is poor and the next door is average, it's the same builder, right? So that's one thing that I just want you to be aware of, that it's not necessarily true, okay? You might wanna go look up the builder and say, find out a little more information. My go-to way is to probably go in and see who listed or sold in that area for the last 3 years and call them up and ask them. Were your clients happy when they bought the property? Do you know anything that could help me in regards to the builder? Most people are gonna be more than happy to help. Okay, and that's why I said 3 years. So you can kind of ask and, you're probably gonna get 1 or 2 people answer you. Next thing here. Okay, this you're gonna use a lot when you are listing. You need to know the block number, the lot number, if applicable. You see here, there's a slash and 2, there's no block. There's just a lot number, and the lot number is number 2. Okay, so when you're listing it, you can just put a little line, or you can just not fill that part and leave it blank. This one here is the acreage per the county, so this is the most accurate unless you get a survey to make sure that it's correct. But that's one of the ways you can maybe compare between lots. And if you see, for example, if you're looking at 2 lots and they look very similar in size on the map, and this one says that it's 1.5 acres and this one says that it's 1/4 acre, you have to kind of wonder and go in here and look, what is the real size? Okay. So going down, you're gonna see legal description of the property. Again, you're gonna see the block, the lot number. This here is the subdivision name per the county. If you are listing a property, use the MLS. Okay, because the MLS has, sometimes it's a little different. You got the Fema zones here. This one says minimal. This is a good start, but I would never recommend you look at this and take it at face value. For me, I would knock the doors around the area, or I would call the agents around the area if I'm not familiar, and I would ask them, has it flooded? Has it flooded in the last 3 years, 5 years? You can also have it as an excuse to call that neighborhood and maybe get a listing while you're at it, right? We got buyers looking in the area, just wanted to make sure, hey, has it flooded in the last 3-5 years? Well, how long have you been here? And you're, moving forward from there. Especially when you have, buyers really, really interested, and if you're in the neighborhood. I've went numerous times to show property, and there was nothing in the listing about it being flooded. There was nothing that the agents could tell me, and when we got to the property and knocked on the neighbors' homes, that's when we heard that it's flooded before. And these are properties that you wouldn't think that have flooded, because they're sitting up high. But we still went and knocked doors to make sure, are you gonna like this neighbor? Let's go check out who this person is, right? So that would be another thing that you can do, and it's another connection. And here you're gonna see the listing archive. You're gonna see how many times it's been listed, how much it was listed for, the closing date, all that stuff, who listed it, who was the buyer agent, all that information. Now, one thing I wanna show you, when you're looking at these, you're probably wanting to go back to Paragon to check on, the report and the details to see if there are any concessions. So you don't need to go to Paragon and put in this number. You just click on this and it takes you to the report. Okay? And you can go down here and see if there has been any concessions. Now this one is active, so it's not gonna show here, but let's say this one is sold, and you can click on here and look at the details. Sold price 152. They didn't say that there are any concessions that the seller gave, so we don't know. It was a conventional loan, and when they went under contract and when they closed. Does that make sense? So you can find out all that information. Do you guys have any questions?
Pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty cool.
I have a question. I think I've tried to do this with my house, and it's listed as the wrong address.
In CRS?
Yes, I believe so.
It happens.
It's got the wrong street.
Let's look at it. Let's,
I'm like,
can you
why
share it with
isn't
us?
my address coming up? And then I somehow found it under a different street.
You might wanna take your paperwork and go to the assessor's office, and they may send you to the zoning department to get that fixed.
Wow.
But I've seen it with new construction sometimes. You'd have only the lot number, or the county wouldn't really have the address yet. Something that is already built, I've seen it where the county has it as one address, but the GPS has it as a different address. So I don't know, I would ask.
Yeah, I figured that way.
Yeah, especially for you know to sell one day.
I tried to do a CMA on my house, and I'm like, why can't I find the old MLS number? And it was because it was on a different street.
So, okay, we might have a few more minutes. We still have prospecting and facts and figures. So you guys have time? Okay. What is the address?
4532 Planters Row Way. That's the correct address. But it was, in CRS, it was coming up as Scarecrow Way.
Oh, okay. So when you're looking up a property, you wanna click at all the listings. And the reason why I do that is because sometimes they have, a very close address, and you just wanna investigate, make sure you're clicking on the right one, or the most recent one. So let's see, this is the most recent one right here.
Nice house.
So let's go here. Is this the farm? Is this the new part? Or when was this built?
2016.
2016, okay. I'm gonna call D.R. Horton. So what did you do?
See, it says Scarecrow Way, property address.
Mailing address.
That's so weird.
That is very weird.
Was it new build or resale?
That's the street behind me.
Yeah,
It's like
it's a
Little
new build,
River Road and Forest Drive, same thing.
I don't know. Do you guys have an idea? You've been in the business long enough. Do you have any idea? Or which one of you? I don't know.
I wonder if when they did the zoning, somebody flipped the roads on accident.
I don't know, but I would definitely ask. I would definitely go to the assessor's office, take your information, print this out, and go to them and say,
The assessor office just 5 blocks.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah.
Just ask for correction though, if you're gonna get paid.
Well, this has the square footage that you see in this. If you're listing a house, don't depend on it. Because I measured a house 5 times and came up with a different number than what was in this.
See, that's another thing. This is what the county has, yeah.
Well, I called the tax office and I hate to say this, but I said, I'm 300 square foot different.
Wow.
And she said, I hate to tell you, Mr. Buchanan, probably 90% of the properties, the square footage is incorrect, that's in there.
That's
I've heard
crazy.
that too.
So
Yeah,
don't
if you
do
guys
it.
are not used to it, always measure. Now, I can walk into a space and say, no, it's bigger than 2,000 square feet, or it's smaller. I can walk into a room and know almost to between maybe 2 to 3 inches, how what the size is. And that's just because you walk into so many places and you measure, and now you kinda, it's just, I don't know. Once you get used to it, you'll know. Your brain will tell you. So yeah, definitely go in there and get a correction. That's so much of it. Let's see. All right, so let's go to the next thing here, which is prospecting. So if you guys wanted to send out mailers to a whole neighborhood, or postcards, or whatever you're doing by mail, right? You're not gonna get phone numbers here. You're only gonna get addresses and names. So you're gonna go to, oh, you know what? We forgot the comparables. I apologize. This is what happens when you don't go per plan. Okay. So comparables. The quickest way to do this is to go click on Quick CMA. I'll tell you one thing, I would always go through Paragon and always do the research, because the most important things when you compare are what? Location, size,
Year.
age, condition, what else? Size. Exactly. So you want to look at all these things. You want to look at the pictures. You want to see what it looks like, because one could be a totally remodeled home that would probably cost you about $50,000-$70,000 to, you know, brand new kitchen, bathrooms, all tiled in, rather than just regular bare walls and vinyl flooring. There's some value there, and it's not dollar to dollar. So my recommendation to you is to friend an appraiser and talk to them and ask them questions. Take them to lunch, do whatever, send them a gift card, whatever you want to do to get acquainted with one of those appraisers and kind of talk to them about it. Say, okay, what do you do when there's, you know, 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath, and a 3-bedroom, 2 bath, or 1 bath? What's the actual value there? Because it's not dollar per dollar if you were to build a new one, right? It might cost you $12,000, but the appraisal isn't going to be $12,000 more. So you want to talk to them and kind of get their take on it. So when you click on comparables for that property card, it'll pop up in here and it'll show you all these homes that are in the area that just sold. And what you're going to do is you're going to pick the ones that you think are
most comparable.
Thank you. And this is why I say, if you're not familiar with neighborhoods, like I can tell you, you know, you can look at the zip code and say, well, that doesn't belong. You can see that this is a unit number, meaning it's, you know, a condo, and this is a house. You can't compare these two together. But it's so much easier to do the CMA through Paragon. But if you have to do it this way, then you can just go through it, and if you already know the neighborhoods, you're going to click on the ones you know. Let's see here, this is not it, this is not it. This one might be a good comparable.
Temperance Drive is right next to it.
Temperance is right there, thank you. What else we got?
And it does tell you how close it is to the
Yeah.
actual one you compare.
Mm.
That's good.
And so let's say we pick those 3. Let's say we know that these are the 3 that we want. And this is the subject property here. And we're gonna keep, we're gonna keep checked. So that'll kind of give us just the checked ones. So now we got 3 properties that just sold. They're almost the same size in here. And they're almost, like, this is pretty new, so that's a big difference right here, 2012. So these would be closer maybe. Again, you gotta look at the pictures and do that report and, you know, get detailed with it. But you can see all this information here. You can see the closing date, you can see the square footage, the age, all that stuff. And sometimes the acreage may be important if it's a big difference. So that's one of the ways to do a comparable. And to do the adjustments, you can do the adjustments in here. Okay, so you can play with it and see
Can you
what.
just look
what
that
you
one
can
time
get.
so we can see it for a second?
Which one, which one?
The adjustments, I'm just curious.
Oh, okay. Okay,
Is it
so
like, what
you just add it.
oh,
You
okay.
just go in and add the adjustment. And when you're adding the adjustment, you're adding it, you know, in comparison to the new property, right?
Okay.
So next thing we have here is the prospecting. Now we're here. So say for example, you are gonna prospect for that neighborhood. You remember when, Mike, our broker, was telling us about sending a letter to introduce yourself and say, hey, I'm the, neighborhood realtor, just want to introduce myself, if you have any questions, yada, yada, yada. You know, you'll probably hear from me within a week or so, and then you go knock doors or give them a gift or something. So one of the ways to do this is to go into prospecting, and you can go in and type in the subdivision name. This one is, what is this one? Spring Forest? Oak Forest.
Oak some?
Okay, so we're gonna type in Oak Forest. And see here on the right hand side, you're gonna have all these. It's not pulling up all of them. Okay. Now, if you don't get much when you click in the first one, look for the subdivision and find it in here. If that makes any sense. Do you guys follow? Just make sure that if it doesn't work in here, just go down, like scroll down to subdivision and find that name, subdivision name. And then you'll have all the properties right here. And you can select them all, and you can export them or create labels. See, and you can pick how you want it to look like, what information you want to pop up on that label. So it'll be easier than kind of writing it down 198 times.
And when you export, does it come out as an Excel spreadsheet or something?
It should be CSV.
Excel.
You want to make sure you select all, because if you don't, you might not get much. And if you see here, like Oak Forest HOA Inc., take that off. Other ones that are LLCs are okay. Don't let that scare you. A lot of business owners would put their property under their LLC. A lot of people will open an LLC just for that property. Okay, so unless it says HOA or the name of the HOA, it's okay. Sometimes you will see the electric company.
Can you just go through that couple of steps one more time?
Again?
About prospects.
So let's get out of here. So we put in on the left hand side of the screen under prospecting, we put the name of the neighborhood, right? And here on the right hand side, you see all these properties pop up, 198. So we have 198 records in that neighborhood. So now, depending on what you want to do you want to export them all in an Excel sheet like you said, or do you want to make labels and print them all and just stick them on these envelopes? So if you want to do labels, you want to make sure first that you select all, and then you create the label. Okay. You can skip the ones that don't have a zip code. You can remove exact duplicates or just leave it alone. You want to make sure, this is another one that I almost forgot. Make sure you look at this and you send it to maybe owner's address. If you're sending it to the property, whether the owner lives there or not, it's just gonna go to that address. But if you choose owner's address, it's gonna print out, the mailing address, so the actual owner would get that letter. Is that good?
Yeah, thank you.
Are you allowed to print the first and last name? I thought a couple years ago they said you couldn't do the first and last name, you had to put your homeowner
Oh,
for the label. I don't know.
I think it's a preference. I don't know if I've ever heard
It could have just
that
been
you
the person that
can't.
told me that.
Maybe someone got a little heat from an owner, like, where'd you get my information?
Okay.
A lot of times when you're calling, you're cold calling, you're gonna get that. How'd you know my name? Where'd you get my information? How do you know where I live, right? So it's public information, right? So maybe that's what it was.
I was just trying it with my neighborhood, and it's only coming up with the common areas, like what the HOA owns, and it's
Is it a
not giving
condo?
me. No, it's not giving me the, individual, owners.
It's forcing it to go straight to the agent.
Are you going through the, what's the name?
It's the farm at Timberlake.
That should show up. That
It
should
is
definitely
popping
show
up, but it's just only giving me the farm at Timberlake HOA Inc. Do you like click one? Is there more?
Make sure that you're not checking something here that could be a little,
Found it.
Found it, got it? Oh, cool, what was it?
The actual name is The Farm. She was just typing in farm.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the subdivision button popped up and said click on that and then we can.
Same thing with the MLS. If you start it with a different, that's why I said when you go here, it might be a totally different or slightly different neighborhood or subdivision name.
Yeah, because on the MLS, you just type in farm at.
I don't know what to tell you about that. It should match with Horry County records, but unfortunately, this is what we're looking at. So the last thing would be facts and figures. Do you guys have any questions before we do that? Okay. Okay, so which one of you did this part? Or ever looked in here?
Both facts and
Any one of you
figures.
looked? Huh?
Both facts and figures.
Ever looked at that?
I wanted to see if you prospected and wanted to import, if you could tell it like, just give me the names and the address, or, I don't know, I was just thinking about, it don't matter, but.
Yeah, so you remember when you click on the prospecting, you click the neighborhood, and then you do, if you wanted to export or label, it'll ask you what information you want to retrieve from there. And if you have Excel and you retrieved information that you didn't need, you can just delete that column.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
I think that's a good way if you wanted to go to, I don't know, stop by. It tells you their name, and if you get a number address, they don't live there, obviously.
That's true. That's true. Okay, so let's look here. This one here, we're gonna need. Let's see what information we got.
Forest, Oak Forest.
Oak Forest?
Yeah.
I wanna see where I'm at. So let's just say no, it's gonna have to be an exact property when you're looking this up. So we're gonna go back here and
Oh, that's like yours.
where's the property where we were?
I think it was 2499.
It won't let me do that, so you have to actually put the TMS number.
You had it copied, you could probably just do paste again.
Yeah. Do I? Oh. There you go.
Once you copy something, it's there.
Until you copy
Yeah.
next.
All right. So this one here gives you a little detailed report of the area. This is really good for you as an agent to kind of go in, especially for your own neighborhood, to go in and kind of like investigate what's going on in that neighborhood. How did sales move up or down? This one shows for this one neighborhood, for example. So you can go in here and kind of look at the sales history. Let's see here. When I look at the trend, this might be even more helpful if you look at the trend.
And you're really
And
gonna be
this-
looking smart if you show with that.
Huh?
You're really gonna be looking smart when you show with that.
Yes, yes, especially if you're talking to a new homeowner, this would be a really great way to knock on that door and say, hey, congratulations, wanted to give you a little report to tell you a little more about the neighborhood. How are you doing? How is the new home?
My CRS doesn't have anything past prospecting. It's just property search prospecting and then
It doesn't have facts and figures?
it does not, or.
Do you guys have it? Chevy, can you check your?
I do.
You do?
Facts
You
and all
do?
that.
All the way to the top.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Oh, yeah, fast.
I got it all.
You got it?
Yes, ma'am.
You don't have it.
Did you
Okay,
go
that's
straight
weird.
from
I don't
MLS?
know.
Did you go-
Straight from the north, I pulled
I don't
up.
know what to tell you about that.
Just this.
I don't know my
I
computer.
did a different set of straight from the MLS.
Yeah, I went to Veracruz.
She's saying she didn't see it.
I went to Veracruz, so I don't know.
She's saying no, she says.
See, let's see, so now, this is how I did it, so, you go here, you go to financing,
She did.
so you want me to give you those.
Oh, I don't have it here.
Pick a property,
Oh,
you get up on it, it's gonna give you.
I'm
those.
listening. You
Yeah.
tried that way?
Did you? And
Yeah. No, I did it.
go to Paragon and then pick an exact property.
Like an example.
And then, yeah, and then see if it'll give you the CRS report with the facts and figures. That's a little strange.
That works.
Okay, good. Alright, so here, see, it's gonna tell you the area that is giving you the information, the trend on. And it's gonna tell you, see here? So this is the average sales price in the last 30 to 60 days. 60 to 90 days. 90 to 120 days. You know how great this is?
Yeah.
To show what is going on in the market. Okay, so this looks like it's going down. It went up a little bit, it went a little crazy, and then it's kind of slowing down. You want to use average instead of median. And then you can look also at the percentage of the change. This is the median. I don't think they have an average for that, but at least it gives you an idea of what happened and how much it went up. And then you got the total sales. This is the volume. Okay, so 6 million sold in the last 3 to 60 days, 30 to 60 days, right? So you can look at that as well. This one's probably gonna be the one that, you know, your buyers or sellers are gonna look at and kind of be like, oh my God, okay, so this is what's happening. Total sales, and this will give you the number of properties. So what's happening in the last, 30 to 60 days, we had 19 properties sold in that area. Before that, we had about 26. 90 to 120, we had 23. And then 120, 180 days, 46. See, so they're, not as many buyers or ready, serious buyers as there was 120 to 180 days ago. You can show your people those numbers to help them understand. And you can print all these or save them as PDF and send it to them by email. The next one, I think you have all these in here. I printed them for you, so you can look at them and kind of, highlight or put a little star next to it.
I see you selected like a mile radius out.
So when you look, oh yeah, so when you're at the property report and you're clicking on facts and figures from that property, that specific property, it takes a radius around it. It automatically just goes and looks around that whole area.
You can't do it by neighborhood like the farm, like you did before?
You know what? I don't know. We can check. Leave me your email.
Yeah, okay. I
Yeah.
didn't mean to get you.
Yeah, or you can go in and look at it. Try to do it yourself, yeah. Let's see here, area statistics. So you can look at all these.
You go down to a quarter of a mile, that's the smallest radius,
You can?
quarter of a mile.
Very good, very good. So that's another report here. Okay, also giving you some information. Improved commercial properties. Right, so you can look at all this and see when and how many improved commercial properties were in the area and kind of do a report based on that. There's an appraisal price data as well. So you can also look at that and show that to your clients. And what else did I want to show you guys? This one here is about demographics, so it kind of shows you, the age in the area and how it changed throughout the years. The household income. A lot of times when people ask me, is this a safe area or not? The fastest way to know is to look at the average income of that area. Okay, you look at that neighborhood, you might want to look at that neighborhood, or the way I did it here where I just selected, this would be more kind of generic. If I wanted to do something based on income, bless you, I would take that specific neighborhood and look at, okay, what is the average income in that neighborhood? That should give you a pretty good idea where you're gonna be in terms of safety and all that. Education, it even tells you a little bit about profession. So this might be really, really good for your buyers. It's interesting information. It's exciting. So, you guys have any questions? Any more information?
It's pretty good stuff.
Yeah?
Very good.
Did you learn something?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Well, thank you so much for coming. If you would fill that out for me and tell me maybe on the back if there was something that you really liked about it, that would really help me with my next class for newer students.